Since the beginning, ever since man walked on land, there's been an angry man with a weapon. Bing bam boom, now I'm the angry man with the weapon, getting mad at other people with weapons. The pinnacle of the instruments of violence we created are guns, a technical wonder of many moving parts that make people shut up permanently. But after the dozens of wartime simulators, we get it. Guns go bang, people stop breathing, and that imaginary number next to our name goes up. Big deal. It's time to reject modernity. It's time to reject modernity. It's time to reject modernity. It's time to reject modernity and return to a simpler time. Melee weapons, a timeless classic voted by the most legendary people in history. Unlike modern video games, there's a lot of diversity with melee weapons. Unlike guns that, no matter at the end of the day, are just devices that go bang in different various sizes. With melee weapons, you got blades, longer blades, dual blades, curved blades, blunt objects. Turns out that whacking stick we use for whacking balls is very effective for whacking people's skulls in. Now, I could play any other game that hosts a lot of melee weapons like, oh yeah, Dying Light. But as cool as this is, and it's really cool, I like using melee weapons in games you really shouldn't be using them in. There's something about it, being the lunatic engaging in a tactical gunfight with the melee weapon. It's like that rush of dopamine you get when using the energy sword in Halo. Melee weapons are great. You don't have to worry about recoil, ammo, or what attachments you're running. You just gotta go up to a guy and press your attack button. And if it's a good game, you kill him in one hit. But in all things where there's a whole lot of them, one question is destined to be asked. Which is the best one? Now, I'm not gonna go history when you saying some nerdy crap like the katana is the best because it's Japanese or anything that needs you to look up Shadiversity, because I'm gonna be focused on a specific group of weapons. The knife fight weapons. That probably sounded like pure gibberish to you, but I made a video called Knives Out playing a game mode in Cold War called Knife Fight.
Oh my god, bro. Get bonked!
Yes, it is a game mode that only allows the players to use melee weapons exclusively. I like this game mode not because it's revolutionary, petting at, only because it's a unique experience. I hate myself. There's 8 weapons in Knife Fight, and I really wish I could say they're all good, but we all want to say the COD games were all good, and look at us now. First, there's the knife. The plain Jane, the standard edition, the vanilla, the old reliable. It's average, but not in C student average, more like a B+. Its reach is decent, swing speed is fast. Wait. Let me back up a bit. I gotta explain my criteria first. COD, in this COD specifically, doesn't do its melee weapons like the others. You'd think it would be simple. I swing, I hit, he dies. That would make too much sense. There's this thing in the game called lunge. I call it reach sometimes, but that's a different mechanic. Melee weapons are close range, and getting up to people isn't exactly easy. So the game makes up for that by adding in lunge animation when you get a certain distance from someone. Most games do this, but in Cold War you can make an argument to say lunge is OP, lunge is non-existent, or lunge is just broken. In this game, lunge is inconsistent. Naturally, the longer your weapon is, the farther the reach is, but then again, that would make too much sense. Small weapons can sometimes have poor range and godlike lunge randomly, and weapons that are bigger than the knife have none. Speaking of the knife has good range and lunge, but technically, almost all melee weapons have good range and lunge.
Oh, brother!
What makes them bad is the consistency. Game? Are you okay, game? Like, what's going on? I find knives to be consistent. It's a B+ weapon, and on a good day, it can show an A tier.
Let's go!
Second thing when judging a melee weapon is speed. The faster the better, because ever since they removed tomahawks, it's hard to deal with campers and even harder to clutch 1v3s.
Yeah, there's no way I can fucking do this. Okay. God damn, all 3 of them!
Being able to kill 3 people in rapid succession is a huge advantage for any weapon. That being said, the sides are definitely the fastest melee weapon. It's actually so fast they had to make them a 2-hit, but they balanced that out with making it so you can b-hop with them. Pretty cool. But what isn't cool is how irritable they are to use.
Not these.
Like you cut, G.
What? These wannabe Kali sticks are the definition of run ruiners. Think about how you have to hit someone twice, meaning if you hit someone once, you would have killed them with any other melee weapon. You may be thinking, just hit them again. But this game be goofy sometimes, because you could hit someone once, then proceed to get 2-hit comboed at the speed of light. Sometimes it feels like the enemies are killing you with one shot. Nothing I can do. Did I mention you can one-hit people if you hit them in the back? Well, it's random when that wants to work. Because if you're dropping nuclear numbers, backstabbing people will always one-shot. But if it's a close match, it feels like the sides just stop working. It's the same for the lunge animation. You're doing good in the game, I swear you can lock onto someone across the goddamn map. But as soon as you need to clutch up, you can't hit someone if they're breathing right down your neck. It's a C tier. Now, let's talk about a weapon that abuses the system. Sliding. Every modern FPS game has it nowadays, but in this game mode, you best forget it exists. Because 9 times out of 10, sliding is the same day guarantee for getting your ass folded. But there has to be that exception, that 1 time out of 10, that 10%, and that's usually given to those really annoying players that abuse the system to literally have the game hand them wins. If the person were a melee weapon, they'd be the machete. I don't know what it is about this weapon, but sliding with it is a guaranteed kill. Like, the lunge is 100% accurate when sliding. Well, my friends would beg to differ, but every time I died with the machete, it's always been either because they slid before me or misread the engagement. I even think the game knew the machete was overpowered because there's only 1 machete in the rotation. Well, there's like 4 different versions of the knife. You never really get the machete a lot of knife fight, but when you do, it's always one-sided. I always find it easy to clutch up with it. This is going to be controversial to the 2 people watching this, but the machete is our first S tier. Lunge, reach, and speed are the 3 factors when judging a melee weapon. There's a melee weapon that has all but one of those factors, and that's the sledgehammer. Having no speed means the sledgehammer hits like a truck with engine failure. You have to check under the hood every time you hit the gas. This is the slowest melee weapon, and luckily its reach and lunge makes up for it, but only for the most part. Speed really drags this weapon down because there's another thing with speed I haven't told you about. There's weapon swing speed and there's animation speed. All of the swing animations are slow and have a slight cooldown to them, but what's different about each of the animations is the speed they start. It's the same for the mace. But it's not just the speed that hurts and benefits the weapon, it's the actual animation. Wow! For the mace, it has a stab animation that has more reach than the other animation. The sledgehammer is the same as well. Typically every animation is good for the sledgehammer, it's just the cooldown between swings that hurts it. But you do not want to get the overhead swing when using it. For the mace, it swings fast enough for the animation speed to not matter, but that poke animation is what you want. You'd think that depending on the type of movement you do, the game would give you a certain animation. Like if you were moving forward, your character would stab, and if you were stationary, your character would just swing. But that would make too much sense. The animations are just on loop. I guess you could count your swings, but I doubt you'd have time to do that when you're trying to clutch a 1v3. Simply based on that, I'd say the mace has the better animations in general, and the sledgehammer can chill behind it. There's one melee weapon where the animations don't matter. The ETool. A man once made a very bold claim, a claim so wrong that the earth being flat is more believable than it.
And then for your secondary, you want to slap on the ETool if you have it. It is by far the best melee weapon in the game by a mile. It is by far the best melee weapon in the game by a mile.
It is by far the best melee weapon in the game by a mile.
Every other weapon I get in the game, no matter how bad and inconsistent it is, I have a shred of hope that I could still win with it. I could kill someone with it, but when I get the ETool, it's radio silence. There's no other weapon in this game mode that makes me want to go outside, get a job, find the love of my life, get married, and have children more than the ETool. Every time I lose with the ETool, it's as if I just lost 3 years off my lifespan. The ETool is the weapon equivalent of getting all the world leaders in a group chat and asking them to squash the beef. It's useless. It can't kill someone if you were making out with them, and it has 0 lunge and a weak range. The knife, a blade which is smaller, has better lunge and range. The only thing it has going for it is the fact you can swing it fast, but that doesn't matter if you can't hit anyone. It's literally just random. And for that fact, it receives bottom of D.
What? Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I'm telling you, the ETool is such a mystery of how it works.
But let's talk about a weapon I love the most. The Wakazashi. I love the Wakazashi. The Wakazashi is so good. The perfect melee weapon. The best melee weapon in the game. The best melee weapon in gaming, period. All I do is win with the Wakazashi. It's fair, it's fun, and honestly, it's a blast to use. The cane. The cane is pretty much the definition of basic. It's decent at literally every stat. When I get it, I don't go, oh hell yeah, I'm gonna win this round. And I don't go, oh no, this round is a lost cause. I'm gonna use it. And for that, I just slide it up in here and B. Now it's time for the last melee weapon, the baseball bat. The baseball bat is solid, way better than the ETool, has a better track record than the cane, and is a faster alternative to the sledgehammer. But it feels like it's the machete's younger brother. Like, no matter how good it is with its lunge and reach, it's always in the shadow of the machete. I don't even know why I think that, because on paper the baseball bat is one of the most consistent weapons. The only time you get folded with it is because you're bad or you didn't get the faster animation. Or the game just hates you. But if I were to choose between the baseball bat and the machete, it'd be the machete. Fighting with the machete is just too good. No, it isn't a 2-hit, or has non-existent range, or is slow. Honestly, besides this game's iffy hit detection, there's no problem with it. It's just good at being good in the same way the cane is decent at being decent. It gets top of A tier.
So yeah, that was the tier list. Leave a like and subscribe, I guess. And I'll see you in the next 2 months.